All right, everybody, thanks for joining in once again. So, I'm not sure the sequence of the movies that we have recorded as far as when they're going to be released in episode format, but the last movie that we talked about had several different dates associated with it, and this one is kind of the same format. So, Wikipedia says 1988. The VHS tape that I have says 1990, which I actually don't believe. I'm going to go with the 1988 version. So we're talking about 1988's Maniac Cop this episode.
All right. Yeah, this is a film that has been sitting on the mom and pop video shelves for a long time. And I never picked it up. Never saw it until a week ago or so. So this is my first viewing. But again, it was one of those films that has been around obviously forever, since the late 80s. And when was this your first viewing as well?
No, it was not. I don't remember the first time I saw it, but yeah, I mean, I've seen it before. So, and I had it on tape, but I don't think that I'd ever watched the copy that I have on tape before, because the copy that I have on tape is fucking horrible.
Oh.
It is weird. So I don't know if you've ever had, I mean, it's been a while since you've watched anything on tape, but like it would cut out, but it wouldn't like go to static or go to a blue screen. It would like go to a black screen. So
I think I remember when that would happen.
Oh yeah, because it was weird. Because I was telling my wife, because she was in the room with me the other day, and I was like, "Oh, I've never seen this before. It's almost like somebody like spliced this tape or something."
Too funny.
But,
yeah, I think I remember like certain films where that would happen.
I think I've seen this once or twice before. I'm not sure. But this is one of those, at least to me, this is a movie that I think the people that were making the movie kind of had an idea that they wanted to make something different for a horror movie, but they weren't really quite sure the direction they wanted to go. Because this movie has, well, first of all, you have like the whole like 80s good cop, bad cop type feel to it. But then you have this like slasher element to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then to throw it in for good measure, even though they already have like a cop element to the movie, then they're like, oh, you know what? Let's have another cop in this movie, but let's have him being framed for some of this other stuff. So you have these like weird, like two conflicting cop movies going on. Then at the same time, you have like this slasher feel going on, and you're like,
yeah,
okay. So I'm not convinced this movie knows what it wants to be.
Yeah, I was introduced to this. Well, again, like, you know, going to the mom and pop videos as a kid, it was always there on the shelf, and you know, you're looking through horror movies, and it kind of grabbed me, but never enough to like I really wanted to go see it. But it was around that time. It was like the late '80s. I remember I had a friend who you know, he would kind of explore. He was a little bit more better at exploring some of those titles that we weren't completely familiar with, like Rawhead Rex and well, at the time Puppet Master, and that was kind of new. The late, you know, thinking late 80s, early 90s. And I remember he got into it, and he was like, yeah, you got to see Maniac Cop. It's just, it's pretty cool. And he kind of told me a little bit about it. And I think it was always one of those films that was kind of sitting in the back of my mind on that, you need to watch this one day. So it's kind of cool that we finally sat down and had a reason to watch it. And I'll be honest with you, it was pretty much exactly what I thought it would be. You know, it's all, you know, practical effects, obviously late 80s. It's basically a slasher film, and you know, you've got your killer, your villain, as a cop, which was something that really hadn't been done at this point. But you know, looking back at this era, this was, you know, the slasher films were the 80s. That was horror movies, and they were looking for everybody they could possibly find to be the next slasher, and everything was always based around a holiday or whatever. And so this time around, they just went ahead. Okay, well, why don't we make the cop the slasher?
Which is just, I don't know. It's just, to me, it's just so weird. Like, it wouldn't have been so bad if you would have had a slasher, but instead of like your typical slasher movie where it's just like out teenagers or whatever, and kind of had like the cops be the one like kind of chasing him. Which, I mean, I know they kind of touch on that like on Halloween a little bit. I mean, if I want to watch a cop movie, I'm going to watch Dirty Harry. If I want to watch a slasher movie, I'm going to watch Halloween or one of the Friday the 13th movies. And I mean, so mixing them together to me was just like really kind of weird.
Okay.
And well, there's part of it too that I just don't think really ages very well when you have this whole, you had the Tom Atkins character who's like this good,
yes.
He's like a good cop and he's like trying to like get like the sergeant or the chief or whatever, like, hey, you have to investigate the rest of the force and try to see if there might be a bad cop.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's not I mean, this is 2020,
yeah.
people. That's like, that doesn't really happen nowadays. So I mean, it was just kind of a weird thing. It was just like, I'm like, oh, okay. So I mean, yeah, I don't know. I was just, I wanted it to take one road or the other. Are you going to be a cop movie or are you going to be a slasher movie?
It's so funny that, yeah, as soon as I totally forgot that Tom Atkins was connected to this film. I mean, I knew he was. I remember seeing, like, hearing about it and also seeing, like, pictures of Maniac Cop at his booth at Flashback. Well, as soon as he popped in, I'm like, oh, cool, Tom Atkins is in this film. And, of course, Tom Atkins plays Tom Atkins in every film. I mean, it's like the same guy. So it was kind of funny, though, because I was expecting, like, him to somehow hook up with the young girl, but that never happened in this film.
I know. That's what I said, too, because my wife was sitting there with me, and as soon as he popped on, I was like, oh, I wonder which teenager in this movie he's going to fuck.
Yeah, it was funny because he plays the same character in every movie, it seems like. I still have to see Night of the Creeps. I haven't seen that one yet, so I think that was like the last big Tom Atkins film that I haven't seen yet from this era. But it's that same, investigative. Like, I mean, he's not a. It's funny because in Halloween 3 he's a doctor, but he's also investigating the mask company. And in The Fog, he's what is he in that movie? Like I don't even know what he does, but he's not a cop, but he's investigating the fog.
He was just like wasn't he just like a drifter in The Fog? Like he was just like passing through or something?
Something like that, yeah. I think he was maybe a fisherman, I don't know. But then in in this film he's actually okay, finally he's investigating because he's a cop, which was kind of interesting, but at the same time he doesn't hook up with the girl. I thought he was going to eventually hook up with a blonde, but nope, that never happened.
Yeah, it was disappointing. And he did. I mean, this is in this one too. I mean, even in The Fog and stuff, like he kind of had like gray hair and stuff, but like in this one, like he's like full on like a white head of hair. You're like, damn, dude. Damn,
oh, yeah.
Tom Atkins is getting old, and this would have been. What,
late 80s,
30 some years ago?
Yeah, well, then he did My Bloody Valentine 3D, and he was totally, white hair and older guy. But yeah, so he must have been like in the because the Halloween 3 and The Fog were like early 80s, and so then Maniac Cop's late 80s, and so yeah, there was some time in there.
Yeah, it's just weird. I mean, it's not like not to say that he's old or anything, but it's not like. Because me and you have talked about this, going to Flashback every year, and one of the things that always happens, everybody doesn't do it, but most of the people do it, is they'll use their headshot from like the early 90s, and then you'll get to like the thing at flashback, and then you'll like be walking around and you'd be like, that's the girl from Friday the 13th Part 5? Are you sure? Because that lady looks like a grandma. I mean, the picture that she's got up there looks like her from, Violet, like maybe 15 years after the movie. Or what was the... Nancy Loomis was probably the most infamous one of ours, where we were like, oh... Nancy Loomis, I mean, she totally looked like a grandma. Mm-hmm. And then she was even like, I think we even caught her blowing her nose like into her hanky and like all being delicate and stuff. And whereas like people like Nancy, Heather Langenkamp, like her picture, I mean, that's like a relatively recent picture. Yeah. And I mean, she still kind of looks the same anyway, but it's not like she's one of those ones where she probably could walk around for the most part and not get recognized, but she couldn't walk around like a horror convention and not get recognized.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
I mean, probably a lot of the horror people probably could walk around in public to a certain extent to not get recognized, but again, I mean, I could go someplace and the whole entire cast of Game of Thrones could be there, and I'd be like, who?
Me too.
What?
Right, exactly. Yeah, I another thing I wanted to say about this film, and I want to see what your thoughts were. So basically, the story is, there's this Maniac Cop. That's what it is. This killer cop who's basically going around killing people, and he'll pull people over and kill them, or if they run into him, he kills them, and that kind of thing. And there's a backstory behind this cop, and basically he was kind of a ruthless cop, but he ended up getting arrested and charged, and they ended up putting him in the same prison as like where all of the like the people that he arrested and put away were serving time. So he ends up in the shower, and there's this kind of flashback scene where he's in the shower and he gets attacked, and they, all these prisoners cut his face up, and there's this big fight scene, and anyhow, he ends up in the morgue. Here's the thing I wanted to see what your thoughts were, because when he's out and about and he gets shot or something happens to him, it's like it doesn't faze him. He's kind of like Jason. What was the deal with that? Was that explained? Was there like some sort of supernatural element to?
Not that I picked up on. I mean, the doctor or whatever it was, that when they went to like the prison, and they were questioning the guy, and then he's like, "Oh, we just send him off," and then they were like questioning him more, and then he was like, "Oh, he was a good cop. I had to save him," but they didn't like really explain why or how, I should say.
Oh yeah, well yeah, that's right. He's like, because the guy at they were going. He finds out he's still alive. He gets this body of this cop, and instead of doing away with him, he releases him, and
and that was the thing too. He didn't like just send him to the morgue. He released him to that other lady at the police station.
Right. The one that's kind of his caretaker, his like, with the brace on her leg.
Right. Yeah. So not sending him to the morgue. Right.
So it wasn't like, but that doesn't explain how he's able to, survive.
No.
Shots.
Yeah. That was probably explained in part 2.
Yeah, there's got to be something going on there, but yeah, it's unexplained. That kind of threw me off a little bit, because, I'm totally cool with it being supernatural, or, you want to do something kind of like a Friday the 13th. That's fine, but it just seemed kind of like a weird, kind of leave you in limbo type of thing.
And speaking of like part 2 and stuff, that's what's so weird about the Maniac Cop franchise, if you will. I don't know if this has happened really with many other movies. I I don't think it would happen today with any movie if this were the case, but like supposedly Maniac Cop barely made like half of its budget back at the box office, but yet somehow it spawned 2 sequels. I mean, it's just kind of weird. Usually, like when stuff is, you have movies like, which I mean, came out in the '90s, like Waterworld, or what was that one that from like 10 years ago or whatever, the Disney one, John Carter or whatever.
Oh yeah, right.
That they kept saying like, "Oh, this movie's a giant flop," and then you actually look at the numbers and you're like, "Hey, that movie made like twice its money back. What are you talking about? It was a flop."
Right.
But yeah, this movie like lost like money and then somehow still managed to produce 2 sequels.
Yeah, that is so weird. There must have been some kind of underground thing that, I wonder if the second and third, I would assume, would have gone straight to video.
Oh, probably.
The first one, did that go straight to video, or was that like a theatrical release?
I'm not sure. Let's see here.
And
theatrical poster, so I would assume theatrical release.
Huh, interesting.
Well, and it came out in '88, so.
Which is not too far away from when RoboCop was released. I think that was '87, if I'm correct.
Yeah, and now that I say that out loud, I mean Puppet Master went right to video in '89, so.
Right. Yeah, that was always a straight to video. But yeah, if anybody has any information about Maniac Cop, I'd like to hear.
Oh, here it is right here. Maniac Cop was released May 13th, 1988. It was only released to 50 theaters. Well, no wonder why it only had a gross of 600,000. Right.
Limited release then.
And then
it was more of a video store film. I figured as much.
Yeah, and the other thing too we didn't even talk about yet is he's almost unrecognizable in this one, but Bruce Campbell's is in this as well.
Yeah, I can't believe we totally forgot about that. That was another. I knew that there were some actors in this film that we would be able to spot pretty quickly, and yeah, that was kind of interesting. So he must have. When did the Evil Dead? Was that like 83, 84?
Yeah, it was earlier than this for sure.
And then Evil Dead 2, and then Army of Darkness was probably right, like 89, 90, something like that. So
yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, because the Evil Dead stuff, we haven't got to that yet, but I mean, we'll get to those. But yeah, because the Evil Dead stuff is like a weird thing. So you had Evil Dead, and then Evil Dead 2, which is basically a remake of Evil Dead, but it's made by the same guy.
Right.
But then, and then Army of Darkness, I can't remember when that came out.
Gosh, it had to be like 89, 90.
You know what's funny is, like, completely off topic, but speaking of, like, unnecessary remakes, so we were talking off the air before about the Batman movie that's coming out next year. Do you know what other movie is coming out next year?
What's that?
It's a movie called The Suicide Squad.
No way. They're going to do that.
Which Suicide Squad came out in 2016, and they are technically like remaking it. It's like a soft sequel.
Weird. And I'll say probably, wow, okay. Yeah, interesting. I don't even know what else to say about it.
I mean, it just goes into the whole like shit show that DC has going on. But Batman's there to save them, though, so they have that.
No. Hopefully that turns out pretty good. But yeah, so with Maniac Cop, everything, at the end of the day, this was a film that I went in knowing a low-budget horror film. There's probably going to be some decent gore effects. Relatively cheesy story, but something that, keeps your attention. Total beer and popcorn movie. If there's ever been a beer and popcorn movie, I think probably the number one beer and popcorn movie, in my opinion, is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. But this movie is definitely in the ranks of the beer and popcorn film. And this is just, it's Friday night, Joe Bob's not on yet. So toss on Maniac Cop and grab some popcorn and some Lone Star. Just chill.
Well, I'm going to disagree.
Really?
Yeah, I could not get into this movie. I just
Really? Okay.
I just it. If, like I said before, if I wanted a cop movie, I would watch Dirty Harry. If I wanted a slasher, I'd watch Friday the 13th or something. I mean, if you're gonna try to make some weird hybrid movie, which I mean, I get they were trying to do something different, but it just didn't work for me. So
okay,
I'm giving this one a big old fat thumbs down.
All right, interesting. Okay, I thought you would have liked this one, but okay.
Yeah, I thought I would have liked this one too, but it turns out I didn't.
Maybe you'll like the sequels. Maybe we'll have to hit a few of those down the road.